Does everybody remember Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child?
Of course.
Now, it's very random. I acknowledge that. But she's in the news because she was sitting next to a person on her airplane who took his shoes off, and she shared the pic. Like, she's like, who does this stuff? And you see this too often where it's like, do people not realize they're overstepping barefoot?
Can I call out someone that works here because I love them and I think they're kind and I've only had good interactions, and I hope that continues after this statement?
Oh,
I'm right here, Rich.
I don't know. It might end right now.
Him and I get along every time we hang out, but every time I see LeVar Arrington in this studio,
Oh, his dogs must be barking.
his bare feet are right there. Oh, Covino, right near your microphone.
I know. He keeps his Cheetos right here by the mic.
I mean, listen, I guess when you're a big guy like LeVar, not many people tell you no.
That's probably it. Like, I'm not going to tell him
I mean,
anything.
we hung with him at the Super Bowl. No one brings the party and the fun like LeVar. But I don't think anyone has really said to him, like, put him away.
He's known for having his dogs out right here on the console everywhere. When we were at the Super Bowl, he's in the lobby with his feet up, no shoes on, in the lobby, just chilling. But I guess, like you said, when you're as big as he is and you're a former Pro Bowler, you can do what you want. Michelle Williams, again, shared this picture, and it's just some dudes barefoot, like in her personal space on an airplane, and you see that, like I said, too often. So it makes
Those are some Shaq-looking toes,
what
too.
people do, guys, and it's
they look like those Kevin Durant bad boys.
It's the gross habit of what people do is they put their feet up and they're like, I'm not kicking the chair ahead of me, but they put their foot in between the two chairs. So on your armrest, if
Have
you
some
look a little
respect.
back, some people have their bare tootsies on your armrest.
That's line crossing to me.
Or if you're in the window seat, you'll look to the left of you by the window or the right of you by the window, and you see someone's toenails.
I think you're allowed to give them a judo chop if you see them in your personal space like that. So before we get into stadium do's and don'ts, what are some other airplane do's and don'ts? 'Cause I know so many people are so particular about what annoys them when they're on a flight.
No, there's like 5 things, and I'll zip through them, and you tell me if I'm missing anything.
Okay, good.
Keep your shoes on. No tootsies out.
You know what? I take my shoes off, but I'm not putting them in people's faces.
Because your feet will swell with the altitude change.
Yeah, I keep
So you would
them
take
on.
you take your shoes off so you can kind of
Just have clean socks on.
Time out.
not stinky feet.
I agree. Make sure you don't got stank foot, but also, are feet swelling that big of an issue? I was saying,
I
You
think if
didn't know that?
If you have your laces tied,
Yeah.
and you feel the
notice that?
swell, don't
I
you?
notice it, yeah.
Like, haven't you ever tried to put your shoes on at the end of the flight and you're like struggling to get your feet in your shoes?
I also notice it when I'm trying to zip up. You know, I feel like, why is it so swollen?
That's just from eating all the popcorn and
my
the cookies and the snacks.
My
and
goodness.
Savino's talking about his belly.
Lots of sodium in
I'm
those
talking about my
Biscoff
gut.
cookies.
What are you talking about?
No, but all right. So hold on. Apparently, foot swelling, bigger issue than I thought. But
So-
keep your
We
socks
ingest
on.
too much salt on the plane.
Yeah. What did you guys have?
It's those
extra salty chips.
Yeah, those blue chips, man.
3 packs of pretzels.
Those what are those cookies called?
The Biscoff.
Yeah, the Biscoff.
Oh, Biscoff.
Yeah. So all
Good
right,
for at least 40 of those.
keep your socks on. Number 1. Number 2. Don't bring smelly food. Don't bring a tuna sandwich or the leftover Tupperware of salmon
That's a real good one.
on a flight.
I
Yeah.
was sitting
Who are you,
next
Tim Salmon?
I was sitting next to a girl that, no joke, had a full-size pizza box in her lap. And was like trying to balance it, and then she was like getting drinks, trying to balance the pizza box.
Oh, you mean the Zapai family?
Yes.
The Zapai family.
Pizza pie.
Pete
and the
Zapai in row
Pete
one?
family. And like I'm like, and it's reeked like garlic.
Yeah, that last Vegas boxing trip that our show took, there was a girl in the row in front of us, and she opened up a tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah, don't be doing
I
that.
don't understand that.
Beat it with that. I'm with you on that. Any other plane ride do's and don'ts? Airline do's and don'ts?
I think based on what you said with food, even if you think your food smells good, when you're not eating it, you don't want to smell it. Like, there's people that come on with like a bag of Burger King or McDonald's or something from the food court, and they think, oh, how could this be offensive? I promise you, no one wants to smell greasy fast food on the plane. So no food. Keep your feet
How about
covered.
this one? This is a real controversial one. There's always a story about some fight that broke out because someone expects you to trade seats with their nose-picking kid.
Nope.
But, like, what if you really wanted that aisle seat or that window seat for a reason, a work reason, sleep reason, comfort reason? Are you supposed to switch seats just because this nose-picking family was irresponsible with their booking of the
The
trip? I don't know.
The only time I will switch a seat is if it's for a better section.
Yeah.
So if I'm in economy and you're in premium economy, I'm taking
I'm
the
not
premium
getting
economy
middle.
seat.
I'm not getting middle aisle because
When
you want
I-
to sit next to your kid.
When I turn 40, I demand now sitting on the aisle because I'm going to get up at least 4 times.
Same.
Yeah.
Listen,
Spot
I
needs
would
at
say
least 2 first-round picks.
I drink a lot of coffee.
Don't put people in a weird, awkward situation to be mean, I guess.
I paid for that seat.
I think you're legally allowed to sit next to your kid until they turn a certain age. However,
Three years old.
I'll switch seats with someone if they're like, "Hey, I'm aisle or window up there. Switch with me." Yeah, who cares? But I'm not taking a middle seat.
That's what
So
I'm saying.
that's the compromise. If you tell me like,
But it makes you feel
No,
like a jerk
but if some-
because you're not willing to do that.
if some guy tells me, "Hey, I'm like 2 rows ahead of you in the same seat. Switch with me so I can sit next to my friend or wife." Of course.
I know.
Why would you not?
People have a major hang up on being the first person up when the plane lands.
Oh my God. Hold your horses. You landed. You're not going anywhere for 15 minutes.
Sometimes you need to just get up and stretch a little bit.
No, you're the guy that does it.
No, I don't go jetting down
but-
down the aisle.
I don't understand.
Like I'm the Ultimate Warrior.
You just
I just try to stand up for a little bit.
you just I can't. I don't even want to
Remember how
follow
you
that.
come running down the aisle?
You just sat for 6 hours. Is 5 more minutes really going to destroy you?
You know, I was going to say back to your other conversation of the middle seat swapping.
Yeah.
We were late for a plane once on Southwest. My wife, and at the time our 2-year-old son. So we had to. I completely understand your frustrations. The problem is I can't stand the person, and it's not everyone, who verbally announces that they are not moving. Where it's
I'm not moving.
Exactly.
Making a big deal
Not
about
me. Sorry.
Not me.
That is who annoys me. Like it's awful.
true.
I was willing to Venmo this girl moved a seat. I'm like, I'll Venmo you $100. You know,
Wow.
totally for doing that because we were the last ones on the plane.
That's
They're
overly
only,
kind, though. I've never seen that offer ever.
I would have absolutely done it. But what made it worse was just the other lady in the aisle who was just. She was not going to move, and she was going to let you know about it.
Not my seat.
Yes.
Dan, I
People
think
are so weird. That's why.
If you gave Covino money, he'd sit in the bathroom the entire time.
$100.
Dan, I'll say this. The other option, I almost want to tell those people in that scenario, if I were you, like, all right, well, if you want to sit next to my 2-year-old the whole time, have them.
Yeah,
Take
go
them. I mean,
ahead.
I'm trying.
Yes.
Come on. So, all right,
Do's and don'ts.
getting up when the plane lands, stop it.
Where you go?
Unless your flight's going to take, like your next
yeah,
flight is
if-
going to take off. Like I had to be that guy because I had like 11 minutes to make my connecting
Okay,
flight.
fair.
And I was like, please,
But
I got
you
to get to the front of the plane.
But usually they will announce that. They'll
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
can you please
yeah.
stay
Yeah.
in
No,
your
but
seat
you
so
know what?
people can get by?
No, I back up, Sam. The rare occasion, if you're the person that needs to do a transfer, people won't honor that on the plane because they're selfish. So you do need to run immediately.
We got to be like, hey, I'm sorry, my next flight's in like 28 minutes. And so, like, you got to kind of whisper to people, like, just please get out of my way, you know. But here's another one for you guys. This hasn't happened to me, but who has the gall to take their massively long hair and flop it over the seat
I've
into
seen
the one in the
Covino
back?
Covino had
So
that.
it covers the TV.
You're covering my TV. I'm,
And your
trying, to,
monitor-
I'm
or-
trying to watch something inappropriate, and you're covering it with
Your hair is in my snack. What is going on here?
I've seen that a lot.
Respect my space.
Do's and don'ts. And I jokingly said I'm watching something
I-
inappropriate. You probably shouldn't be doing that in a public space.
Yeah. And usually when you rent a movie on a flight, it will say this movie features adult scenes. Be mindful of people around you. A big pet. I'm all about plane etiquette, and people disrespect it all the time. But the zipper exit. You know how everyone stands up? So we just talked about that. When people stand up, they assume, oh, I stood up first. That means I get to leave the plane first. No. We're leaving row by row by row by row.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you're in the back of the plane, you're going to stand the whole time.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
It's not
That's
a
why
race.
it's not worth getting up.
Yeah,
because I put my foot in the row.
Yeah, like Spot's,
And
Spot's
and
a
I'm-
bit much with it.
No, I put my foot in the row. I'm like, you're not going in front of me. And I get up and I get my bag, even if I'm sitting.
And the rows are usually off-centered a little.
They are.
So you know who is next
Yeah.
in line to get up and leave the plane.
I have.
It's
I
frustrating.
have a couple
man.
more quickies.
All right.
Overhead space is fair game.
Yes, I agree.
It doesn't have to be above your seat. One of my favorite stories ever, though, because
Only-
you hear how arrogant Spot is about air travel.
Etiquette.
One time, this is one of my favorite stories of all time. That's how much I love this. Spot, who's Mr. Arrogant Air Traveler,
Very arrogant.
some old lady Spot put his overhead above her row, which is fair game. Like I said, you don't have to put your bags above your row.
Which
That's
I think it was like the row in front of me.
It was in
They
the
spill
vicinity.
up. You can't always put
Yeah, you
your bag
can't
above your
always
seat.
put-
no,
yeah.
they fill up. Yeah, everyone's using the wheelie carts.
Yeah, but like amateur travelers don't know this.
They don't know this stuff.
So this little old lady who I think lived in a shoe.
Old biddy.
This little old
she
lady,
lived in a shoe.
Yeah,
Oh,
she brought her shoe with her.
old Mother Hubbard.
That's somebody's grandmother.
I don't care.
Old Mother Hubbard lived in a cupboard, I think.
My grandmother would never.
She opened the overhead. There's no space for my bag, and I'm sitting here. She took Spot's bag down and threw it in the aisle.
What?
And then didn't she call me? She said something. She called me
called you a
Buster or
hooligan.
something.
Yeah,
She's like,
this
"That's
is
my space, Buster!" And then she threw my bag across the way on a seat. Oh,
Yeah, now
I saw
you
red. I saw red. A lesser man would have kicked her in the face.
Any other do's and don'ts? By the way, we're bringing this up because there was a stupid viral story of Destiny's Child's Michelle Williams with someone's bare foot was in her space on an airplane, and she took a photo of it and posted it, and it was like a Shaq Fu kind of foot.
Yeah.
It really was like a Shaquille O'Neal sort of foot.
You know what?
Like LeBron toes.
Our buddy Michael Yo, awesome comedian, good pal of ours.
Yeah.
He said he's got a problem when short people take the exit row. You don't need the leg room.
That is a little annoying, but hey, you snooze, you lose.
You know, I will say this though. You may disagree with me here. The seats recline for a reason.
Yes.
I'm not going to
Thank
go.
you.
I'm not going to go.
There are a
all-
lot of hot
Yes,
takes
and-
out there.
I'm not going to slam
They recline
back.
2 centimeters.
Listen, I'm not going to not erotically,
Or both.
slam back the seat like, don't recline.
You can't anywhere. It's like you got to
aggressively.
push.
But then a lot of
Yeah.
arguments on planes happen because people's feet or something else push the reclined chair.
I saw, I think it was on Reddit, like a Reddit post, like the AITA. I won't say what it stands for, but like where someone's laptop screen broke because they had their laptop
Yeah.
open. The person reclined and it cracked, and they're like, "Who's responsible?"
That's a
for
design
that?
flaw.
Yeah,
Of both the
like,
seat and the laptop.
It is
And the tray
because you
table.
have such little space that you tuck it into the seat and then it slams back and it cracks.
Like, I don't even use the recline often at all because people get so hot and bothered with it. But the fact is that they designed it for that
you
reason.
have the right.
Yeah,
You have the right to recline. It's literally like 2 inches.
and
it's,
again,
it's not even enough to really make you feel comfortable.
not to sound.
That's what she said.
Hey, can I give a tip? Cheapskate tip of the
But
day.
hold on, not to sound rude. But if you are a bigger person, tall or hefty, like that's where you maybe find yourself in the exit row or pay a couple bucks extra to get the bigger row or seat or something. Like you can't go in row 34 middle seat and be like, I'm a big guy. What do you want? Like you can't be 6'4", 250 and be aggravated that
Can't
you're
be like
in the middle row.
Vlad Jr. and expecting, yeah. So,
Or
Rich,
soda.
to wrap it up,
Yeah.
this is do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Is it okay if you're sleeping? Can I get your snack? If you're sleeping on a plane, can I be like, yeah, he'll take the Biscoff cookies?
I do that sometimes.
Because I do that all the time.
I do that sometimes.
I
No,
think
here-
that's a great move.
What about when you're sleeping at taking a red eye and all the windows are closed and there's one open?
I close it.
I think you have to.
Men, I will reach. If people on the window fall asleep and I'm trying, because you can't watch a movie.
No.
Because the screen is just lit up and blown out. I will reach over the person. I'll close the window,
All right,
even
well,
if they're asleep.
Speaking of reaching over, I agree that if there are windows open, you have every right to be like, hey, bud, do you mind closing the window? Like, be kind, right?
Any time of day. You have the right.
Here's the other question. This
Anytime.
could be awkward burgers, as we say.
It's a good one.
Imagine you're sitting window seat and you got to use the restroom. Like, you can't wait. You're thinking, I can't wait because then I got to get off the plane. I can't wait. I got to go on the plane. But the middle seat person is sleeping. Do you wake them up or do you awkwardly like try to hover over them? Because what if they wake up and you're like mid hover over them?
You got your butt in their face.
Which way do you hover?
No, face to face. Like, hey, what's up?
That's so awkward.
The considerate thing is actually face someone when you have to. Like at a game, you're in the seats. You're supposed to face people. A lot of people will do the old butt scruncheroo.
And this is why I sit on the aisle, to avoid that.
exactly.
I will wake
right.
people. You got to wake people up.